Namaskara everyone. Welcome to uh, Bhumi College's event Journeys with Bhumi Vasi. This is the first episode of the series that we're doing. Uh, Many people had actually registered. I think more than 50 people. I guess all of them, a lot of them are on their daily rituals and journeys. They'll join us hopefully soon. And what we'll do is not waste a lot of time, just begin, and maybe as they join in, they can introduce themselves. Just to let you know, this session is being recorded. Uh, so just for everybody's notification. Yeah. So welcome. This is being organized by Bhumi College and the fellowship that it's been running for almost a decade now. So having running it for almost close to a decade, what we've had more than I think 150 fellows, like who can say that they have completed the fellowship and have gone out to do many amazing things like Atal, Ria, Deepak, who are here and have joined us. I think many of them have been doing great work and have been on these journeys, of Bhumi Vasi. So here we are um, to just know about some of the journeys. We will keep doing this on a regular basis. Uh, so the intent of this is really twofold. One is, I think, will not make any bones about it. This is about the alumni also connecting with each other. That is definitely an intent for Bhumi College. But the other larger intent is for people out there, young people out there, young at heart, also, I guess, who really want to look at making a transition from the mainstream to supposed alternative careers, or really looking to move into the social sector, environmental sector, really want to uh, have work that has purpose, meaning for them. How do you sort of make that transition, and really what are the challenges in those transitions as well? So while we are sort of portraying this as showcasing of Bhumi fellows and the work that they've done, the other aspect is really the some of the troubles that they go through, some of the questions that they have. These questions I'm assuming all of you have as well. So we'll look at both sides and not try to just showcase the positive impact of what it means to really have an alternative career or really do something which is out of the ordinary. So I think that is the intent from our end. Hopefully, you guys, some of you might be already on your journeys. I think some of you have applied for the fellowship, and we are happy that you're here. And even others who have not applied for the fellowship, if this can help you in giving you more confidence or give you more perspectives on how to go about um, your life in the alternative, or even sort of give you the confidence, we'd be happy to have facilitated that. So welcome, thank you everybody for joining in. What I'll do is I'll just quickly hand it over to Farah to give us an introduction to Bhumi College, a very quick introduction to Bhumi College and the work that we do. And after that, we'll just have a round of intros from all of you. Over to you, Farah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, shall we start with all the introductions of all the participants, as we
Yeah,
are expecting some more people to join in? Would that
yeah, we
be
could
a
do that.
better sequence? Yeah.
Sure, we could do that. I think so. Maybe a quick, brief intro from each of you who have joined us here. Um, your background, what are you doing right now, and what brings you here? If you can keep it brief, then everybody can have a chance to share in. Yeah. So anybody can start and then just tag the next person. Maybe I'll do the tagging. Gagan, would you like to go first? Okay, maybe Gagan is not here. Anybody else? Sharat? Hi, Sharad. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Sharad.
Yeah, I just came across this invitation for this webinar. I'm actually a student of Azim Premji University from Bangalore, and I wanted to know what students from Bhumi College and other people who are working in this sector are doing. So that got me interested. And I am also, I just graduated from my university, and I'm looking to transition from the degree to working in an alternative career. So I want to know how other students who have already got experience working in this sector have transitioned, and how what work they're doing, and how what are the challenges they have faced.
Thank you, Sharad. Could you just tag maybe somebody, and then we can.
Rema.
I think Rama is part of Bhumi College, and I think she's just joining us
Okay,
now.
I don't know anyone.
Okay. Maybe Mamie can go ahead, or
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Maimi Devbama. I'm from the state of Northeast, and I'm in Tripura. And I have recently finished my post-graduation in physics. And last time I have joined one of the Bhumi's seminar on reclaiming your connections. I quite liked it and got a very good experience. So wanted to know more about the college and the work that has been done. So that's why to learn more, I have actually joined this workshop. Thank you.
thank you, Mamie. Maybe Harsh can go next. All right, many people still getting into the session. Bhaumik.
Hi, I am Bhamik from Ahmedabad. I work for a non-profit called Precision Development. I met few of your alumni last month, Ravina and Tishwini, who are from the latest batch, I guess. Amazing people. So I thought that let me learn more about what you guys are doing and how the other alumni are. So that's the intention of mine to join this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaumik. Ananya, if you're there, maybe.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Ananya, go ahead.
Everyone, I just recently with the BA in Communications and Media English Strategy from Christ. Right, so I've been always interested in sustainability. Also about sustainability, startup. We're working on a social enterprise network for sustainability. It's like a portal for sustainability to connect all people, bring in the holistic picture, help people, guide them in their sustainability.
Ananya,
Information.
I think your connection is maybe a little slow. If you
I'll
can,
off my video.
Yeah, maybe switching off video.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I start again?
Yeah, I think maybe that would help.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Anand. I've recently graduated from Christ with a BA in Communications and Media, English and Psychology. So I'm interested in writing, and I'm also interested in the space of sustainability, being a nature lover, and I write about sustainability as well. And so right now I'm co-founding a startup called Go Green Guru. So it's a social enterprise network to connect different people on the sustainability space. So it's a portal to help people get a more holistic sense of sustainability and make the journey more easier and more accessible. So there'll be articles and stories, communities, forums, marketplace, every dots and bringing everyone together to scale the impact. So working on that right now, and I came here because it seemed interesting. The work these people have done have seemed interesting. I wanted to learn from their experiences, network, and learn more from them on what all can be done. And I'm also interested in the natural farm. So I just wanted to learn more about it. And I'm glad to know all of you.
Thank you, Ananya. Hope you're able to find some of the things you're looking for. Nisha, maybe Nisha or Bakul can go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Nisha. By profession, I am a software engineer, and I'm interested in the education sector. I want to contribute in the education sector. And I just came across few videos by G. Gautama sir. Bhumi had posted it on YouTube. And also last year I wanted to attend a session. I think Deepak was hosting it, but I had reached out to him, but I wasn't able to attend. I'm from Pune, and I came to know about this session on Instagram. So I wanted to know what all Bhumi Vasis are doing and how their journey was and how they transitioned into this sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha.
Nisha, this is regarding that Mandina Money program, right? December.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Bakul, are you not able to unmute yourself? I think Gagan also had the same issue, but the others don't. So I'm just wondering if maybe logging out and logging in might help.
Shall we put a chat for them so that?
Yeah, I think Gagan has put it in chat. Maybe Bakul, you can also do that. Or if you want to just log out and log in, you could try that. Purnima, I think you just joined in. So we're just doing a quick round of introductions, a very quick background of what you've done and what gets you here. So.
Hi, my name is Purnima. I'm from Belgaum. I run an NGO called Agastya Foundation. It's been running for the last 2 years. We work with a lot of handicraft products. So trying to work with different communities and trying to set up something unique products, sustainable products. So right now we are working with jute table mats, few macrame products like partitions, chairs. And I got to know about this program through Deepak. Deepak sent me a link. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Purnima. Anybody else who's left can, I think Harita just joined us. Harita? Harita, we're just doing a quick round of introductions. So. Hi, Bakul, are you able to?
Yeah. So, hi. Good
Hi.
morning. So, I'm Bakul. I'm from Mumbai. So this basically I got to know about it just last evening. A very dear friend of Atal had sent me this message about, and I've heard so much about Atal from Anita, who's her dear friend. And she'd sent me this thing about this, webinar that's happening. And I had absolutely no idea this fantastic work is happening in this space. And I actually fell off from my bed reading it, think, how did I not know about this whole thing? I'm very interested in this, whole natural farming, and also understanding it from an individual's perspective. So that's the reason it piqued my interest, and I thought I must join in. And also it will give me a chance to actually hear from Atal, about whom I've heard so much from Anita, and also from the others and the experiences, because I was completely blown away seeing the whole concept, philosophy, vision, the kind of work that's happening. And I felt I'm living under some, shade. My background is of mass communication. I've worked in the developmental sector for past few years and then been on a long sabbatical. So really interested to see where life can go next. And this I thought would be a fantastic forum to listen to new voices. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bakku.
Yeah.
I think Mansi and Kumar joined us just now. So guys, we're just doing a quick round of intros, your background and what gets you here.
Yeah. My name is Kumar. I've been closely following the natural farming and all of that. I visited Bhumi College as well for a couple of zero waste lifestyle events and all of that. I've been trying to see how I could cut down plastic and be a little more sustainable and get into veganism, avoiding a lot of milk products and all of that. I'm on that route. Just wanted to understand what Bhumi College offers in terms of their programs. Not currently, but down the line, I would like to join some of their Declaim Your Life, some program or something that they conduct last year. This year also they conducted at the starting of the year. So just wanted to know more information about the Bhumi College and the programs. That's it. Just to develop my interest and see where what do I like and I get into this. Down the line is something that I would like to do.
Thank you, Kumar. I think a couple more introductions. Vismita. I think Mansi logged out, if I'm not wrong. Vismita, if you can hear us, we're just doing a quick round of intros. Just a brief about your background and what gets you here.
Also, Purnima, I think. Purnima is also there.
Yeah, whoever is left.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hello. Am I audible?
You can go.
I'm not from this background. My postgraduate is in biochemistry, but I'm interested in environmental work and research. So I just thought this would be a good opportunity to learn more about it.
Thank you, Vismita. All right, Farah, then maybe I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. So I will not take too much of time. I'll just give a brief introduction about Bhumi College and Bhumi Network, and rest, like many of you said, you will get a feel of the kind of work we do from the three speakers who are the alumni of Bhumi. When they speak, you will maybe get a better hang of what Bhumi College is. So Bhumi College and Bhumi Network are the two units which are run by the trust, a public charitable trust called KNA Foundation for Education, which also runs Prakriya Green Wisdom School. So Bhumi College and Bhumi Network both were started in 2008 with the purpose of creating spaces and engaging people for moving towards a more ecologically wise living. And the main activity at both Bhumi College and Bhumi Network is the main focus is sustainable living and holistic education. So all the activities that we do is to build awareness and bring sensitivity regarding these issues. So Bhumi Network has 3 spaces where projects are going on. One is our organic farm at Tiruvannamalai, where 80 acres of dry land has been greened for organic farming and to organize programs, livelihood programs for young people and self-help groups. So that's happening in Tiruvannamalai. Then we have another organic Gurukul at Gumlapuram, which is about 40 kilometers from Bangalore. There also we have an organic farm. There we are trying to train local rural youth as well as students from agriculture universities and colleges, and even the families who are interested in organic farming. So we try and train them in ecological farming and organic farming, and we run based on their need, we run either a 2-day program or a month-long internship is offered there. Another space we have is Sharavati Rainforest Center. There the main focus is afforestation and also conserving some indigenous species of plants and trees. So that is the main focus area of network. At Bhumi College, the main area of work, there are 2 things that we do. One is the short programs and weekend workshop that we offer on varied topics ranging from, I think some of you have attended and you spoke about reclaiming your connections or connecting with self, land and community, health and immunity, food, processed food, how it is harmful to us, and also about the place-based education or processes in and practices in education. So some of these topics that we offer in the form of short programs, that is one area of activity. The main area of activity is the fellowship program, a 6-month fellowship program that we offer, which is going to now, last year we couldn't, because of this pandemic situation, we couldn't offer a physical program, and instead of that we did some online modules. So this year we are going to start in September our fellowship program. So there are 3 components to this fellowship program. So one is the foundation module, and then we have electives, and then there is an internship. So the foundation module would cover topics like some of these things that I already spoke about, like connecting with self, land and community, or the current economic system, or the place-based education, and or media and communication, how we can use media and communication for sustainability to bring awareness among people. So using this platform and how we can use social media, and also craft and working with hands, how significant and how important it is for all of us to bring these things in our daily lives, and also bring all these things in the education system in schools, working with hands, whether it's gardening or craft, how that helps children in being more holistic, in giving a more holistic approach. So that's the foundation module. Then we have electives. So we have the electives that are offered are 3: ecological farming, or holistic education, or education for sustainability. So we are offered 2 electives every batch. So the batch that is starting from September, we have ecological farming and holistic education as 2 electives. So people who are joining can choose either of the 2. Then there is the internship component, where you go out and learn hands-on, go and join some organization or institution of your choice, where of your interest, and try out by doing things actually and learning from experience. Also, just one last thing to add about the fellowship program is the way we do is the way we believe that education needs to be, not only content driven, but also very experiential. So learning through observations, learning through experiencing yourself, learning by applying the concept that you have learned, hands-on. So if it is ecological farming, so actually working in the farm and learning through that. And if it is holistic education, so actually conducting some micro teaching classes, so where you try out, and also going and observing sessions where you see how a concept that you have learned in theory, how it is being translated in a classroom situation. So these are some of the focus that we have in our fellowship program. And if you wish more details about it, one is you can visit the website. Also, these days, our admission process is on. So most Tuesdays, not, I won't say every Tuesday, but most Tuesdays, we organize these presentations where you can join and learn more about the fellowship programs. So this was in brief. Adil, back to you. So.
Yeah, I was wondering whether we should show the video or get a move on, because I think we're already 30 minutes.
How are we with time? Yeah. Maybe if we have time, we can show it at the end.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll show it at the end. Yeah. So I think then we'll start with the speakers, I guess, and you'll introduce Atal. And
okay. So like Adil said, we'll begin with Atal.
Just 1 second,
So,
Farah. I think a couple of them joined late. Maybe they would like to quickly introduce themselves. And then,
sure.
yeah. I'm not sure if Neerajana, Uma, and Harshita. Uma, I think you had wanted to introduce yourself earlier.
Yeah, hi, sorry, I had unmuted just as somebody else was.
Sorry, apologies for that.
No problem at all. So I've been, I've actually been coming to Bhumi College for a really long time now. I used to be a part of a citizens group that used to do waste management. So we used to, for Bhumi Utsav, we used to come every year and set up a stall called We Care for Malleshwaram. And then now I work with Biome Environmental Solutions and Trust. And we are closely associated with you because we come every year. We do a 3-day course on water for your students. So I've come a couple of times with the people who come for that. And one of your students has also come and interned with Biome Trust, Mukta. I think she was your alumni from 2019. So that's so have been associated with you for a while. And I thought I'll just, it'll be interesting to see what Bhumi alumni are doing, which is why I joined this call. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. If Neerajana and Harshita are here and are able
Hi.
to, yeah.
Hi, Adil.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. This is Neerajana. I do farming. Basically, I'm an engineer and graduated in 2017. Since then, for 4.5, 5 years, I'm into farming now. So currently, I stay in Chikbalapur in Usha Rao's farm. So I just joined this call to explore more opportunities in farming through education of farming, what can be done. And here I am. Hello, am I audible?
You. Yeah, you are. Thank you, Neerajana.
Yeah.
I think Harshita logged out. Yeah. So I guess we'll begin, Farah.
Okay, so we'll start. We'll not let you guys wait anymore. So we'll start with the speakers now. So we'll, like Adil said, we'll begin with Atal. So Atal was part of the 16-17 fellowship program. So Atal, actually, to introduce her, I would like to talk about the way I experience her. I will not give a biodata, which, I mean, all of you, if you have seen the brochure, you would see. So I will just see what was my experience of Atal as a person. So when Atal joined initially, to me, it seemed like, oh, she's one very serious person, all work and very, means business and no nonsense kind of person, which also she is. That's the thing of Atal, like she holds these dualities so naturally in her. But as I got to know her, I saw the light-hearted side, the fun-loving side of Atal. Like, yeah, she can just simply dance in the rain and just go spontaneously, just go and visit some places. And so that's Atal. And then also the one side of Atal is like she has very strong beliefs and convictions and very self-assured person. But at the same time, like she's open to new learning, because when you have your own strong beliefs and convictions, it can make you very rigid. But the way I see Atal, she's very open and receptive to new learnings. And when she came, like she was working in, I mean, she's still working in AIR. That year she had taken a sabbatical to join the program. So she had like years of experience and her wisdom and knowledge. So you may feel, oh, she's all sorted out. But then you see that one childlike wonder in her. When a new thing is presented, like the way she just absorbs, and that sense of wonder is still alive in her. And also she is a person who makes some very deep connections. So Atal is a person who may not have like a huge group of friends, but when she makes friendship, she makes really very deep connects with people. And I think out of all these things, what draws me to her or what inspires me about Atal is this her determination and persistence, and like the whole rigor of working against all odds. Because the way I know what the kind of work she has done, the way she has mobilized people in spaces where I know that it may not have been an easy task, but she has persisted, and she has really done. So you see that the power of one in her, that if you really hold on to your beliefs and your convictions, you can bring changes. And to me, that's what Atal has done. So that's what Atal is for me. So now I'll hand over to Atal to talk more about her work and her journey.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Adil, can you start the slide?
Yes, Atal, just give me 1 second.
Sure. And thank you, Farah, for introducing me so nicely. And मैं मिक्स में बोलूंगी, मैं थोड़ा हिंदी भी बोलूंगी साथ में, क्योंकि I am more natural in Hindi. So अगर कुछ समझ में नहीं आए, then please just ask me.
So PPT is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
At least to me. So anybody who has visited Bhumi campus, they would be able to recognize this is the Bhumi campus. And this was one of my favorite spots. And this is one of the favorite quotes I got from Bhumi, especially Sita ma'am. I'm a work in process. So काफी टाइम तक मेरे WhatsApp पर भी यही मेरा DP के अंदर शो कर रहा था, I am a work in process. तो ये चीज है वो मुझे याद दिलाती है कि आई एम नॉट परफेक्ट एंड इट्स ओके, एंड इट्स ओके नॉट टू बी परफेक्ट. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. So this is the inspiration. This is Madhu Reddy. भूमि की स्टूडेंट रही हैं, and I just read one of her blogs, और उसमें she has said कि after some wandering around some many countries and finally she landed in Bhumi, and Bhumi gave her some direction in life. So वो पढ़ के मुझे इतना ऐसा लगा कि ये कर सकती हैं तो मैं भी कर सकती हूँ. And within 10 days I applied, I got interviewed, I got selected, and within 10 days everything was done. So I thank Madhu Reddy for making me join Bhumi. Next. So after 20 years of government job, I finally landed in Bhumi. People around me were shocked, they were worried, and some were amused. कि मतलब क्या है इतने 20 साल के बाद पढ़ाई करने की क्या जरूरत है, और वो भी ये ऐसा एग्रीकल्चर सस्टेनेबिलिटी, हाउ इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू. बट द थिंग वाज कि आई वाज ऑलरेडी डूइंग सम प्लांटेशन, कहीं जाके कुछ एनवायरमेंट एक्टिविटीज में कुछ काम कर रही थी, काफी जगहों पे बहुत सारा प्लांटेशन किया. आई वाज आल्सो ट्राइंग टू लर्न सम एग्रीकल्चर, पर वो कुछ फोकस्ड नहीं था. तो यहाँ पे जब मैं आई भूमि में, obviously it was an enriching experience. कुछ पर्सनल challenges भी रहते हैं because after 20 years gap again you are in a hostel, there is a diverse group of people around you, and जो भी यहाँ नहीं आया है I will suggest कि आप इस प्लेस को जरूर विजिट कीजिए, क्योंकि ये प्लेस है ना कुछ आपको खिलने में और खुलने में मदद करती है. And somehow it shows you your place. Like आप बहुत ही कुछ ज्यादा उड़ रहे हैं तो आपको ग्राउंड करेगी, और अगर आप बहुत ही ज्यादा कुछ डिप्रेशन में हैं या बहुत इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स है तो भी आपको बैलेंस करेगी. तो बेसिकली मुझे लगता है कि जो भी लोग इंटरेस्टेड हैं, अगर इनर ग्रोथ भी करना है तो भी आप प्लीज ये प्लेस ज्वाइन कीजिए, क्योंकि मुझे बहुत हेल्प मिली है इस प्लेस पे आने से. कुछ क्लैरिटी हुई है, कुछ कंफ्यूजन भी बढ़ता है, क्योंकि इतनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दी जाती है तो कुछ कंफ्यूजन भी बढ़ता है, लेकिन नेटवर्किंग बहुत अच्छा होता है. मुझे बहुत अच्छे फ्रेंड्स मिले, जो फ्रेंड्स अभी तक इतने सालों के बाद भी वी आर इन टच एंड रेगुलर टच में रहते हैं. मेरे को कुछ तकलीफ हो तो वो लोग काम आते हैं, उनको कुछ तकलीफ हो तो मैं काम आती हूँ, और 1-2 साल में हम लोग मिल भी लेते हैं. So it was a wonderful experience, and thank all the faculty, सीता मैडम की ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस दिया. और एक सेफ स्पेस होता है कि जिसमें आप जो चाहे आप अपने आप को व्यक्त कर सकते हैं, ये डर के बिना कि कोई आपको जज कर रहा है या कोई क्या कहेगा. तो मुझे लगता है मुझे स्कूल और कॉलेज में जो मौका नहीं मिला, जो ऑफिस में भी शायद वो मौका नहीं मिला, वो मौका मुझे इस प्लेस पे आके मिला है. नेक्स्ट. सो इंटर्नशिप, जैसे कि फरहा ने बताया, वी हैड टू टेक अ इंटर्नशिप. So as an internship, I took a clean and green drive at AIR campus. These are the photographs before I took up this drive. So this is a 5-acre campus situated in the middle of the city. राजकोट के एकदम मिडल में है हमारा कैंपस. It was totally, as you can see, totally taken over by subabul and weeds. I think कोई वो हॉरर मूवी वाले यहाँ आके सीधा अपना शूटिंग कर सकते हैं, इतना बुरा हाल था. So I decided to take up an internship with this. Please, next. So challenges were that lack of interest by higher authority and no financial support. Even though it's a big institute, they were not ready to spare any money for this cleaning and gardening thing. So I established an Akashvani Nature Club. I just forced some members to register, सबसे फंड कलेक्ट किया और धीरे धीरे काम शुरू किया। इतने सालों से ये जगह अनयूज्ड जैसी थी, इसीलिए पीपल यूज्ड एज अ डंपिंग ग्राउंड। तो आसपास के लोग भी बहुत कचरा फेंकते थे। मेन रोड पे है तो रोड से जाते हुए लोग भी कचरा डाल के जाते थे, तो वो धीरे धीरे शुरू किया। तो पता नहीं कितने ही टन कचरा हमने पार्ट्स में कलेक्ट किया होगा, और स्टाफ ने धीरे धीरे उसमें इंटरेस्ट लेना शुरू किया। शुरू में तो nobody took interest and nobody took me seriously. They say that this place has been like this since like 25-30 years, so nothing can be done. But somehow we started the program, and especially the women colleagues of mine were very supportive. So whenever I had a plantation drive or a cleanup drive, they will come up and help, and also give me moral support. Some people who could not work physically, they would support financially. This is one of the person who is praying for a tree. So people helped in their own way. Next. But soon I realized this won't be enough for a 5-acre land. So I thought of involving the community. I approached a few NGOs, citizens working for environment. I approached schools and colleges and educational institutes. And I invited them for a clean and green drive. So students ranging from 5th, 6th standards, 12th standard, 11th standards to NCC cadets, NSS cadets, they came in groups. And slowly the campus started to become clean and green. Next. Next. So this was a win-win situation for all. Because after this drive, I would have some time to interact with the students, and I could discuss some environmental issues with them and encourage them to work for environment. And I would also issue a certificate of appreciation from the office to the institute, and also record a program, radio program with the students and broadcast them. So they were also happy and I was also happy. Next. So this is the transformation which took after like 2 years. And now this place is beaming with 150 native trees, lots of birds, flowers, and people. We have fruits. पहले क्या होता था कि काम करने जाती थी तो कोई साथ में नहीं आता था, लेकिन बाद में तो ऐसा हुआ कि अब मुझे वहां जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो ऑटो मोड में आ गया है। पहले तो ड्रिप भी नहीं थी, तो ड्रिप पानी भी हम लोग बाल्टी से देते थे, लेकिन फिर ऑफिस ने देखा कि नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है तो ड्रिप दे दी। 1 person took charge of switching on and off the drip system. किसी ने वहां कुछ सब्जियां लगा दी, किसी ने कुछ और पेड़ लाके लगा दिया। तो नाउ एवरीवन इज इन्वॉल्व। तो अब मेरी वहां इतनी जरूरत नहीं रही है, एंड इट्स ऑन अ सेल्फ मोड। नेक्स्ट. Another change that came after Bhumi was that we have a special program for farmers and rural audience. In each AIR station, this is the most popular program. और अभी तक क्या होता था कि there would be one special agriculture scientist or a farm reporter for handling these programs. पर staff की कमी होती जा रही है, and I think the last person who got retired in 2017. After that, that place was vacant. It was run, this program was run, but जिसको बोले कि कोई qualified person नहीं था. But seeing my interest in agriculture and also considering my Bhumi experience, I was assigned this program. Next. So this is the program which is called Gaam No Choro, or we can call Gaon Ki Chopal in Hindi. Every day we have a half an hour chunk. So I decided to interview only and only organic farmers in this program. So in last 2 years, I have nearly interviewed 300 people, which include farmers doing natural farming, people conserving and propagating native seeds, self-help group, women self-help group, and somehow I have tried to make this program gender neutral, because till now it was only male farmers or male experts who were highlighted. But slowly I'm introducing female farmers and female side of the things. I also include environment activists and conservators in the program. और सबसे अच्छी बात जो हुई है इसके कारण ये हुई कि at the end of the program, usually we share the number of the expert or the farmers which we have interviewed. So listeners will call them. Farmers from all over the Gujarat will call them. So now they have a network of their own, so where they can exchange seeds, exchange knowledge. And one particular incident I would like to share with you. There is one young farmer from the Morbi district that is near Rajkot, and he is doing organic farming. So after his program was broadcast, a few days later, I called him and say, okay, how was the program? Did you listen to it? Did you get any response? So he said, response? What response? 10 people from some far district have come, and farmers from the दूर की जगह से 10 किसान आके मेरे पास ट्रेनिंग लेके गए natural farming की. So these things give us some satisfaction कि okay, आप जो भी कर रहे हो वो लोगों तक पहुंच रहा है. Next. So finally, March 2019, I got a place of land. As you can see from the photographs, it was almost a barren land, fully loaded with chemicals, because अभी तक सिर्फ cotton, वो भी BT cotton ही वहाँ उगाया जाता था. There was only one neem tree and one desi babul tree at the extreme corners of the land. It's a 5-acre land. Region is semi-arid region, rocky है पूरा. Average rainfall बहुत कम है. एक borewell है 700 feet और almost empty well था. So 2019 में मैंने इस land पे काम करना शुरू किया. Next. The first thing I did was to build a underground water tank to harvest rainwater. क्योंकि TDS लेवल बहुत ज्यादा है वहां के पानी का, पीने के लायक नहीं है. ये जो स्ट्रक्चर आप देख रहे हैं, ये एक यूनिक स्ट्रक्चर है जो इस इलाके के लिए, इस एरिया के लिए डेवलप किया गया है. मटका शेप का है एंड नो आयरन इज यूज्ड व्हाइल कंस्ट्रक्टिंग इट. और ये एक फार्मर ग्रुप है यहाँ पास में ही, चोटीला के पास. ये फार्मर ग्रुप ही बना के देते हैं ये लोग. तो द फर्स्ट थिंग आई डिड वाज टू बिल्ड अ rainwater harvesting tank. Next. I always wanted a place where I can stay. So this is the mud house I got constructed. It is sun-dried bricks, made from sun-dried bricks. और पास में ही एक जो pond है वो सूख गया था, उसकी जो सफेद मिट्टी, यहाँ पे बोलते हैं गोर मिट्टी, उसको और स्ट्रॉ को मिला के बनाया. एंड मेरे एक दोस्त है, वो यही काम में एक्सपर्टी है, तो उन्हीं को दिया था ये काम. तो उन्होंने लगभग 3-4 महीने में ये घर है वो बना दिया. Next. One of my friends built this check dams. जो लैंड है उसके साइड पे पूरा ऐसे गटर जैसा किया हुआ था पानी को बाहर निकालने के लिए. तो मेरे एक दोस्त हैं, उन्होंने ये हाथ से पत्थर रख के ऐसे बहुत सारे छोटे छोटे चेक डैम्स बनाए. and as you can see कि पहले ही मॉनसून में भर गए एंड मतलब अपने खेत का पानी अपने खेत में ही रहे, ये कॉन्सेप्ट था, तो उसके कारण थोड़ा सा लेवल अप आएगा ऐसा मैं सोचती हूँ। नेक्स्ट प्लीज। So I started collecting biomass from all sources and all types. As you can see, नारियल के छिलके हैं, फूल हैं, ग्रीन नारियल हैं और कुछ फार्म वेस्ट है। तो कुछ बड़े बड़े मंदिर हैं आसपास। I contacted them and collected empty shells from there. फिर एक फूल वाला है, मंदिर के आगे बैठता है, उसके पास जो वेस्ट फूल होते हैं वो भी मुझे दे जाता है। आसपास के बहुत सारे फार्म्स हैं। ऑन द वे टू माय फार्म देयर आर मेनी फार्म्स हु थ्रो अवे ऑल द बायोमास आउटसाइड। तो जाते जाते जब भी मैं देखती हूँ कि इधर काफी क्वांटिटी में बायोमास है, तो एक ऑटो वाले को बताया है, नाउ ही नोज व्हाट आई वांट, सो ही विल कलेक्ट द बायोमास फ्रॉम मी एंड फार्म तक पहुंचा देता है। Next. So this is the first plantation drive I took. तब लगभग 400 पेड़ लगाए थे, all native species, because I wanted to create some kind of microclimate. बिल्कुल barren land था, इसलिए I started off with pioneer trees which are suitable for that region. जो rocky region पे टिक जाए, कम पानी में टिक जाए, ऐसे पेड़ों से शुरुआत की। फर्स्ट राउंड में लगभग 400 पेड़ लगाए, उसके बाद आई केप्ट ऑन एडिंग सम फ्रूट ट्रीज एंड एनीथिंग। तो कुछ वॉलंटियर्स थे, कुछ वर्कर्स थे, उनकी मदद से हमने ये ड्राइव चलाया था। अभी लगभग 500 जितने पेड़ हैं फार्म पे, विच आर डूइंग वेल। नेक्स्ट प्लीज। बहुत सारी मदद भी मिली। Some friends came all the way from Mumbai to help. This is Dharmesh doing Ganga Ma Mandal. Dharmesh is a Bhumi student. फिर कुछ friends हैं, वो पेड़ लेके आते हैं, लगा के भी जाते हैं। Somebody gifted me a baobab which I planted and is doing good. Next. From this year I have started doing Jivamrut, Ghan Jivamrut and Bijamrut. क्योंकि पहले 2 साल तो बहुत ही कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा था, क्योंकि कहाँ क्या हो रहा है, कहीं पानी का लॉगिंग हो रहा है, कहीं पेड़ मर रहे हैं, कहीं इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, तो इतना टाइम मैं नहीं दे पा रही थी। फिजिकली इट वाज वेरी मच ओवरवेलमिंग, सब कुछ एक साथ हो रहा था। पर अभी 2 साल के बाद आई एम स्लोली सेटलिंग इन, द लैंड हैज एक्सेप्टेड मी एंड आई हैव एक्सेप्टेड द लैंड इट सीम्स। So now I'm experimenting with different things. तो इस साल घन जीवामृत बनाया, जीवामृत बनाया और बीजामृत से सारे बीजों को ट्रीट किया। Next. So after 2 years of efforts, finally my friends have arrived. सबसे पहले earthworms आए, बहुत सारे birds आए, अब स्नेक्स आने लगे हैं, मंगूस आ गए, सिवेट है, पोर्क्यूपाइन है, और भी बहुत सारे जानवर हैं जिनको मैं पहचानती नहीं हूँ। सो आई फील हैप्पी सीइंग देम अराउंड। नेक्स्ट। This year in March, there is an institute which works with organic farmers. So I hosted a organic farmer sammelan at Maitri 1, and 150 people attended this program. Of course, there were farmers who are doing farming, organic farming, but there are also farmers who are interested in doing. And there were some curious neighbors, some seed savers, some environment enthusiasts from the city who attended this meet, and they exchanged their knowledge or experiences, and it was a good event. Next. So this year, since I'm more organized, I'm trying to grow millets. Challenge was first I didn't wanted to take use a tractor, but कोई भी tractor वाले आसपास माने नहीं कि they will not plow the land because they say कि ये बुल से अब नहीं कोई करता है, पर sowing के लिए कोई एक बुल वाला मिल गया, so I sowed different millets, multi cropping किया है, और सीड्स नहीं मिले, आसपास सीड्स नहीं मिले. आई इंक्वायर्ड मैनी, मतलब बहुत सारे जो सीनियर ऑर्गेनिक फार्मर्स हैं उन्होंने भी ये मिलेट्स नहीं उगाया, मैक्सिमम बाजरा और ज्वार. बाकी जो कांग रहती है या कोदरो रहता है या सामा रहता है, आजकल कोई उगा नहीं रहा है. सो आई बॉट दैट सीड्स फ्रॉम सहज सीड्स एंड आई एम एक्सपेरिमेंटिंग इट. आई डोंट नो अगर इसको मैं प्रोसेस इस साल कर पाऊंगी, बट सोच ये है कि एटलीस्ट आई विल हैव सम सीड्स टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट टू अदर फार्मर्स, टू एनकरेज देम टू sow millets, and also for myself. I'm also trying in Subhash Palekar 5 layer वो फ्रूट का जो मॉडल है वो, और आकाश चौरसिया का 5 लेयर का जो वेजिटेबल का मॉडल है, लेकिन एकदम छोटी जगह पे. सो ये इस साल के मेरे प्लान्स हैं. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. So this is my last slide, and I truly believe in this. And whenever I feel demotivated or anything like that, I just read this quote, and फिर से हिम्मत आ जाती है, एनर्जी मिल जाती है काम करने की. So this was my journey in short. Thank you. And this place, this is my meditation kutir, which I have built at Maitrivan. And this place is open for anyone who is interested in natural farming. They can come, stay, and experiment. It's open, so you all are invited. Thank you. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Atal. I think that was really inspiring to see and hear your story and the work that you've been doing. I think a lot of it before the fellowship also, laying the ground for the work that you've done after the fellowship. So thank you, Atul. Maybe we can take a couple of questions or perspectives if anyone would like to share something, and then we'll move on to the next presentation. I think Uma is saying congratulations and kudos on such wonderful work.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if any of you would like to just offer your congratulations and good energies to Atal, you can do that as well. It doesn't have to be perspective sharing or a question that you hold.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure. Please go ahead.
Atul ma'am, I'm really impressed by your work. With also doing this farming and other activities, and how did you manage to network with the farmers around that farm, and how did you interact with them, and how were they cooperative in your work and everything else?
Balance तो हो जाता है. I think if you're passionate about something, you will get a time. That's क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है, सुबह 6 बजे निकलती हूँ फार्म के लिए और 10 बजे वापस में पहुंच गई होती हूँ ऑफिस. और लकीली जो मैं काम कर रही हूँ और जो मैं ऑफिस में काम कर रही हूँ वो दोनों एक ही है. Like I am handling program for farmers. तो काम के लिए भी मुझे I have to meet the farmers. तो उल्टा मुझे उनसे बहुत सीखने को मिलता है कि इतनी अलग अलग तरह से, इतना अच्छा मुझे भी नहीं पता था कि गुजरात में और इधर आसपास इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे लोग. सो मतलब आई फील रियली ब्लेस्ड कि मुझे अपने काम के हिसाब से बहुत सारे ऐसे फार्मर्स छोटे छोटे 1 एकड़ में भी कर रहे हैं, 100 एकड़ में भी कर रहे हैं, तो प्लांटेशन कर रहे हैं, बहुत कुछ ऑर्गेनिकली करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, गायों को जो देसी गाय हैं उनको संभालने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, दे आर ट्राइंग टू सेव द देसी सीड्स. सो इट्स वेरी वंडरफुल कि मुझे काम क्या, मेरा काम जो मैं कर रही हूँ और जो मेरा फार्म है वो इंटर रिलेटेड है. So I think it helps a lot, and also my parents are very helpful. My father is 90 years old and my mother is 82, but with God's grace they are healthy. So they are also very encouraging. And I have a friends बहुत अच्छा है, मेरे friend circle बहुत अच्छा है. So I think it helps. I guess आपके question का answer आ गया.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, I think also Atal is being modest. I think this seems like consciously or unconsciously working towards ikigai, you know, where your passion, your purpose, livelihood, everything is aligned. So I guess Atal has been consciously and unconsciously working toward that. Yeah, a lot of congratulations on chat coming up for Atal. So thank you, Atal, again for sharing
Yes,
your
I
story.
just wanted to say, like, yeah, I knew that Atal, you're doing a lot of work, but to see it like this, presented like this, it's really, really great work. And I love your that meditation kutir. I'm
Please do
definitely
come.
taking your invitation, and whenever this pandemic situation gets over, I'll be your guest.
Sure, most welcome, most welcome. Anybody who is listening to this, they are most welcome. This is a place,
Thank
मतलब
you.
वो जो जगह है वो इसीलिए बनाई है कि लोग आके एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करना है फार्मिंग के लिए, तो एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करें, किसी को मेडिटेशन करना है, सॉलिट्यूड में रहना है, तो प्लीज मोस्ट वेलकम.
Thank you, Atal, again.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to our second speaker. I can see him already smiling and laughing. And that is the kind of energy that Deepak spreads also wherever he goes. And Deepak is, like, in some ways, he reminds me of myself also, right? If you talk to Deepak, sometimes you might get the feeling that, you know, he's somebody who doesn't take things seriously, doesn't have much depth to offer. Oh, he's just cracking some really bad PJs, and then you'll be like, okay, is this it? But then you realize that as you get to know him, that he is as deep a thinker that you will ever meet. So in that sense, Deepak is able to hold contradictions within himself as well. Like, that is what my experience of working and being with Deepak has told me, that and sometimes they say wisdom is in that, like able to hold something very deeply, but also be a little facetious, be a little flippant about it, and say that, at the end of the day, things are really important, they matter, but also it's really important to not take them too seriously. And then how do you hold that? So for me, that has been one of the major experiences with him. And a lot of people have confused, obviously not his philosophy of doing nothing, but I see a lot of Zen principles in him, because that is my personal interest as well. So if you were to think of Wu Wei, the act of not forcing in Zen, or the act of doing nothing, in the sense that things, if you let things happen, then you're sort of going with the flow, and then you can really be present in the moment, be in the now and present. And I've found that this principle or this philosophy has made Deepak extremely like he's able to connect with all kinds of communities, and because that requires a certain being in the present, here and now, and not being judgmental, and that's not very easy. So I think whether he's worked with our Hado Siddhapura community to get the lake conservation work done, or the work that he has been doing since he's finished the fellowship with communities in and around Mysore. And we're talking about certain urban communities, tribal communities, youth who want to be in agriculture. So really this seemingly flippant philosophy of doing nothing is much more deeper, and I see the materialization of that in the work that Deepak has been doing and the way that he is. So I'll just let Deepak talk about his experience of the fellowship and what he's been doing since then.
So talk about, or should we share that video first and then?
Yeah. I'll share the video, and then maybe as a slideshow, you can ask me to pause, and then we can talk about it.
Or else to start with, as you've already told, I guess you have spoken more about me than what I know about myself, and it's always easier when our work speaks and people speak about us, and so that it's to chill and to sit around saying all of that can happen. So that's what do nothing means, and then things will happen by itself. And
I'll share the video, and then
yeah. So I thought I'd share how I was before Bhumi. And,
yeah, you can do that then.
So before Bhumi, it was I did prepare for civil services, and before that I'd done my civil engineering, and then all of these were not my choices from the heart. Civil engineering was in South India. It is and then education system, and that colonized didn't enjoy. And then what I did was meeting people, making friends, and then listening to them, and then all kinds of people, all sections, and then all classes. Because rich friends are also important when we don't have that financial resource, which people might call it human capital. So it was that, and then I was a very serious thinker. I had many great ideas, a rebellion, and then against the society. Why is it not proper? Corruption, such things. And then that was affecting me as well. And so this civil, I guess, coming to Bhumi and starting this journey was a process, and then sustainable lifestyle, and then that sustainable development goals of United Nations really struck me. And then the concept of gross national happiness, which I felt GDP is utter waste and useless when a country has to be ranked depending on the economic development, and then India is growing, not the Indians. Quality of life is nowhere, and then gross national happiness means well-being of everyone. So and then suddenly I got a WhatsApp forward. Life is easy. I guess it is by this guy John Dye, and I felt connected to whatever he was saying. And then I actually was looking for his foundation and thought of going there and meeting him and spending some time. But when I was going through his website, then Bhumi website also popped up, and then Bhumi is in Bangalore and Mysore is nearer to Bangalore, and then less money. Whenever I can want to come home, I can come home. So all that happened, and then I landed in Bhumi. And what happened after Bhumi was, I call it renaissance or transformation, metamorphosis, whatever it is, because all of that what I wanted to do, all of that whatever I thought, I started believing in myself, and that gave me the confidence. And then things started to happen, and then I felt acknowledged, I felt accepted. And then there was a beautiful community, and then like-minded people, maybe losers, or for the society. But the power of community is what we are all witnessing today. The collective effort. There's no competition at all. I don't know why the world is going on in that rat race competition and all. Collaborative effort and then collective effort and then that um, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, world is one family. All such things are actually beautiful when practiced. So this is what happened after Bhumi meeting all beautiful people, and then I have that beautiful individual bonding with everyone who I've met there, the gardeners, the kitchen team, the construction workers, our Bhumi batchmates, and our juniors, Adil, Ria, Rema, Farah, Sita, everyone. So Bhumi is that beautiful place where transformation really happens. And what I would want to mention is Bhumi or places like Auroville is established or set community where we have that sense of well-being and all that. But once we complete that fellowship and then come out and then have to work with the real world, and then is what the reality strikes you, because there you might find like-minded people, as I said, and then the awareness and then the consciousness, all of that is the community has all of it. And here life and livelihood is very much important than your carbon footprint, your sustainability or whatever. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share. This is what I was with, and then now we can go with the video.
Just let me know if you're able to hear the audio, please, Deepak.
My sankalpa is to revive, there's a lake behind the campus, Bhumi campus, and that was what we talked about in the panel discussion also. And I think I need all your support. I mean, the lake needs all your support. So that's my sankalpa.
Wonderful. That was wonderful, Deepak. Wondering if you could just give people a sense of the different work that you've been doing. I think um, through the video
Yeah.
it comes up clear, but I think it
Yeah.
would be very interesting to know about the organizations, initiatives that you're working with, that you some of the work that you.
So to start with the audio book, One Star Evolution, how it happened was we had in Bhumi we will have real life project time for a month, I guess, and then we were. Through the year, we've always heard that this is one book which had transformed many lives, many farmers, and then it has been translated into almost all the Indian languages. And then we also had this thought of why only people who are able to read or who are able to probably literate or who are educated should take the advantage, but uh, people who are not able to read or people who may not be able to buy or not available in those rural areas, we thought, okay, we'll make this free source, an audiobook which they can listen at their preferred time. So this was one thing which um, a project very close to my heart because I worked with a very close friend and a very batchmate of mine called Parth, who did all the editing. And then, of course, I love to mention Maheshana because he's the one who inspired us to read about Fukuoka, apart from Bhumi and Bhumi fraternity. So yeah, this audiobook is ready, and this Ali series, a Kannada app which asked us whether they can have this audiobook in their app. So we've offered them for free, and then anybody can download this app and then listen to this book. So I don't have to speak about Fukuoka or One Star Revolution, and I personally requested Padmavati Rao to attend this presentation, and I guess she's here. And she also spoke few words about our effort, and that is on our YouTube channel. And there are few comments for her. Many want to meet her, it seems, and then a few are very much inspired by her work. So this is for Padmavati Rao for supporting us. Thank you, ma'am. And yeah, coming to this lake work. So the lake, how it happened was first day of our fellowship, all of our batchmates, we thought we were told that there's a lake behind our campus, and then so we thought evening we can go there and then sit for some time and then whatever have our own time. And then we went looking for the lake, and there was no lake. And slowly time passed, and then one day we were taken there, I guess for Barucha's session on environmental security law education. I actually don't remember properly. And then I was talking to Ishita, and then Ishita mentioned that uh, why is it like this, the lake? And then I told, can we do something about it? And I also asked her whether I can take it as for my real life project. And then she said, no, this cannot happen in a month. And then we have been trying since many years. We always wanted to bring back this life to this lake since we started Prakriya. And then previous to me, our own Bhumi fellow called Hema had done great amount of work. All the paperwork she had done. She had roamed around all the government offices, panchayat offices, and all. Early drawback for her was she didn't knew the local language. And for me, I've been all these years I've grown up meeting people, and I don't know, it comes naturally to me. to somehow make people say yes or accept or make friendship with them, and then bring them together and do the work. So for me, that panchayat work became easy, and then I called up Anand Malikwad, who is doing some amazing work, reviving some 8, 9 lakes, I guess, for till now. So he also said, okay, if you're because before before talking to him, we were ready with our DPR, we were ready with our funds, Bhumi Network, Sita. I'll have to thank her because nobody else would have thought of spending that much money um, for some other work. Because if it was taken up by the government, I guess in the money we have spent, no work would have happened. So this one was a really community-driven initiative. They were all the drivers and even the supervisor, the villagers, and whoever it was. Even the kids enjoyed. We saw it was a delight for me when they were swimming there, and then people have started fishing there. So livelihoods have slowly started, and then now I hear people coming for walk, people doing their jogging, and then planting, watering. So I guess it was I don't know. Being part of this project will always be special throughout my life. And then seeing these pictures now when I'm here in Mysore after doing the project and not able to go for a walk to that lake, but people keep sending me those pictures and videos of Hado Siddhapura Lake. And many volunteers, Youth for Seva helped us, and then localites and Bhumi batchmates. So this shows the power of community and the collective effort. So this that newspaper clip is with respect to this one, yeah, the same thing. This what happened is we also had internship, and I always have this clarity in my mind that I don't know nothing and I don't want to do anything. So this clarity I have, and then internship, everybody in a batch had planned to do something, and then I didn't um, want to do anything, especially. But I thought, okay, and also I didn't want to spend money also. So I thought, okay, walking is free, and then let's walk and then meet people, listen to them stories. Anyways, I like that, and then different geographical places, culture, all of such things, and making connections. So and then I started from Mysore, and then went till Hiriyur. It is in Chitradurga district, around 200 or 240 kilometers. And then it was not continuous work. I stayed in some places for 2, 3 days, and then I stayed in Tumkur for a week or so. We did few workshops there. We participated in an eco construction project to build a mud house for Mahesh and I, especially, who is our Bhumi senior fellow. And then what happened is those villagers thought that I'll come walking Padayatra. He's some special and great person. And I received that kind of welcome. And then we did that protest, and then we were able to save that 80 acres of forest there. Next day itself, and then we did a signature campaign, and then gave that letter to that member of parliament. And next day itself, it was sanctioned, and then that forest, I guess, it is flourishing now. So that is one thing. All this through the internship, or I even didn't dream of all such things would happen through me. I was just grateful enough to be part of such projects. And then, yeah, this actually after Bhumi, I came back home, came back to my native to stay with my parents, and then work here with the local communities where I've been brought up. And then I got into this project working with the tribals, and this I will have to tell because whatever sustainable living, sustainable management sciences, all this we might have to join Bhumi College or any other college, and then have to learn about it, know about it, get certificate. But trust me, these people who are living in the forest are living example for sustainable living or sustainable lifestyle, and their connection with the nature and their emotion and their feeling is uh, um, I think we are not any match to them, and then there is so much to learn from them, being it the life practices, way of life, and that groundedness, that humility, that humble minded. So big hats off to them. Only what I have realized of late working with them is this aspiration. Like we people, few in the alternative sector are know about the importance of sustainability and all of that. But at the same time, there is aspiration level from people who are living in the villages and people who are living in the forest to become like us, because the world has projected that this is the better way of living. And I guess more and more people are respecting them for what they are, and then that dignity of labor and that dignity of life, and then giving them the space, giving them the voice. I guess that also should slowly happen for um, social reason, for economical reasons, and for the environmental reasons. So if global warming, if climate change, all of this, whatever the world is facing, that has to happen, integrating all of this. So this is what I'm realizing and learning through this project. And we also do this. We have this very beautiful thing. We meet once in a while, and then we exchange seeds, and then there is barter system, and then the building which here we are seeing is that is an upcoming solar floor mill with a community seed bank in Hunsur Taluk. So this has been supported by Selco as well, because to work on sustainable energy also is important at this point of time. And it was crowdfunded, and then Selco also supported. And then this kind of seed banks, community seed banks, we are planning to set up in all the taluks where I'm working here, mainly Adivasi region. And this very soon will become a social enterprise for the self-help group. It is called Sahaja Swasahaya Adivasi Mahila Sangha. So these are few things where, as I said, non-practicing civil engineer, I call it uncivil engineered, and then this gives that satisfaction or contentment while uh, doing all such things, working barefoot with nature. All these five elements is there. Panchabhuta, water is there, air is there, sun is there. So I guess this is a soul satisfying work. And this happened during this COVID lockdown time. And as I've been working with this tribal groups, and then it's not only I'm connected with them only for the project. They should do this, and then I'll have to monitor that, and then. But for me, that human connection is very much important, and then it has happened already. So it project works out or not, but to be there, to be with them, and to be one among them, and especially I feel that connect and the family. So we thought, okay, we have, it is our duty to support them at this point of time, because Nagarhole region is little different from other tribal hamlets. because it has been declared a tiger reserve, it's been declared national park, and then there are many restrictions for them. They can't use any machinery to do their agriculture. There is no electricity. There is no transportation, because there should be a balance. That we do understand that there should be balance between the natural resources there, the flora, fauna, and also the human beings. So that is very a difficult situation, not to save lives and not from corona, but for their livelihoods, for their food. So we did a crowdfunding campaign, and then we were able to support them, and many people came forward. And then thanks to Bhumi, who also contributed very generously. Thank you, Sita. Thank you, Bhumi family. Thank you, all of you, for making this happen. Because I've just put few pictures, but the videos which I have, uh, people were very grateful. And then for me, as I already mentioned, gross national happiness, and that smile on others' face always makes my day. So that always is heartwarming and soul satisfying. So. Um, so all this happened, and I was part of this, and then all this happened because one to oneness. So oneness I could witness, though I was physically present, and then all of you, all of the community, all of the society has been part of it. And then thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share about whatever has happened till now.
Thank you, Deepak. Wonderful.
One more thing. I forgot. I guess I'm taking too much time, but I want to talk about this because of immunity being an issue nowadays, and then working at the root cause is important. And vaccines are to get vaccinated is important, but at the same time, immunity issue is there. So the concept of having nutrition gardens at every, at least for now, in all the tribal hamlets where I'm working, we are working on setting up those nutrition gardens for every home. So that is one thing which is happening in all the three. There are three taluks where these tribals live in Mysore: Hunsur, HT Kote, and Piriyapatna. So around 3,000 families are there. So now again that collaborating with Selco on sustainable energies, we are working on setting up some 3,000 nutrition gardens, which I want it to happen everywhere. The model to be replicated. Everybody should have that nutrition garden at their home.
Thank you, Deepak, for that wonderful stories of community engagement and community work that you're involved in. So if any of you are interested in knowing more about his work, you can get in touch with Deepak. Yeah.
And also I will need more help, and all are welcome to come and help me volunteer, whatever it is, and then design posters, make videos, everything, whatever you can. Please come and support me.
Yes. I think a lot of people, Uma is writing in the chat, and others will write as well. So they're really liking your work and congratulating you. So hope you'll get more support from people here and outside. What we'll do is we'll move to our next speaker, Ria. I hope you've not fallen asleep and you're awake. Yeah, so Ria is also somebody that I have worked with, that I have gotten to know a little bit. So yeah, for me, Ria is somebody who is on a journey for the truth, in, I think, even in small things, or even in small events, even in every perspective that you put in front of her, she always is looking to journey to the absolute truth of it. Like she wants to know, like get to the essential part of it. So, and I have noticed that with Ria, because she's not going to take anything lying down that you tell her. She's not going to accept everything that is told to her, and that inquisitiveness, that courage to question. And sometimes if you look around us, we don't have the courage to question what is happening, right? We want to accept the status quo. I think for me, Ria sort of symbolizes that courage to get to the truth, and the courage to ask questions that others are not asking. And I think over the course of her doing the fellowship and then working with many organizations, I think that's what stands out for me. And yeah, I just would like to welcome Ria and invite her to share her story. Ria?
Thank you, Adil. Thank you so much for that introduction. Adil, can I share my screen?
Yes, I'll make you co-host.
How much time do I have since we've lost? It's a little delayed, right?
Yeah. I think we are at 12:43. Maybe we'll extend by 10-15 minutes. So maybe instead of 1, we'll end at 1:15. So maybe have 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes. Deepak ate up into some of your time, but I'm sure you're ready to forgive him.
I shall think
Sorry,
about that. I shall think about that. Yes. Okay. So can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can, Ria. Go ahead.
Yes. So, like Adil said, it is a journey. I think, and the journey. So, how I connect it is that I've always been in the quest to see how my vision of living together in harmony can be materialized. Since childhood, I heard this biblical quote of, how wonderful it is, how pleasant for God's people to live together in harmony. And I was like, wow, that would be so amazing. Where if people live in harmony and people live together in harmony and all of that. Though at that point, of course, I did not go into the nitty-gritties of those, but it stayed within me. Right? And the universe brought that quote again and again over the years in some way or the other. So yes, I will start with, how I started off. Can you read it, the top one? I'm not sure.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So what I was doing before Bhumi, I will tell that at the end. But one fine day, took the decision a few years ago, I'll go learn a little bit more about sustainability. And I was more inclined towards the environment aspect, sustainability and environment and all of that. So took the decisions, entered the gates and reached this place. And this picture is amazing. It reminds me of the warmth and the care that we all receive, that I've at least received all these years. And I'm so grateful to each one of them for giving this space. So while entering the gate, what I did not know is that how this journey will end up turning out to be. Like, it was completely surprise. It surprised me completely because the space offered, like how Atul and even Deepak mentioned, the space offers a very non-judgmental open space, and the environment, the whole setup is such that which talks about harmony amongst the different beings, right? And even amongst the people. People is one, but also the place is designed in such a way. And the activities that happen are also during the college, at least I experienced that things are very in sync with each other, right? So I think at a subconscious level, it plays a role. I'm sure that I was not consciously aware of all this at that time, but yeah, it took me by surprise because of this. And the whole experience, so I was first an alumni, sorry, a fellow of the college with the Sustainable Living Science program. Then I worked with the media team for about a year, and a little more than a year probably. So I have got like a solid 2 years, 3 years of exposure with the Bhumi community. And what Bhumi's course does is like the foundation module, right, where they focus on connecting with the self, community, and land. What it does is it brings out, it tries to connect us with the inner self of ours. You know, everyone set out to do something in this world. Everyone finds this, you know, is in search of that purpose or passion to do and all that, right? So, but in our present urban paradigm, at least, we're all kind of disconnected, and you know, the superficiality of the world also disconnects us from that. But so the foundation course kind of helps us get in touch with that inner self, and that was like a very different thing for me, because I don't come from that space. I come from a very logical and, you know, pure urban space in that way. So for me, it was a big deal because I got in touch with my inner self. And yeah, like Adil said, I had the courage to go and do that. And I took the step. I kept going in and in and in, and there is a fire which is burning. And the environment, the space of Bhumi was just supporting that. It supported in various ways. Like, you know, for the fire to continue burning, you need to give firewood to it. So Bhumi, the course and the working experience with them kind of gave me opportunities which kept fueling that fire. So one of the biggest things that they did was a community support that I've received. Like, this is a photo where my entire batch is seen, and we're a very strong community. Even today, we keep planning for meetups every year. So the community helped us a lot. Everyone supporting each other, everyone growing with each other, and you know, enabling each other beyond it. And the other was, of course, the community that I gained with the Bhumi team itself, like Rama auntie, Farah auntie, Ishita auntie, Adil, Anand, Deepak, Nayan, and so on. The list goes on. They have held me together as well. Like, once the fellowship gets over, there's constant churning, right? What do we do in the future? How is our life going? And so on and so forth. And also, once the fellowship gets over, we enter the real world, like Deepak said. There again, the real world. So we have to live with that real world. So from that idealistic world, I'm moving to the real world. So there are challenges that one faces. So this community held me together that time. And I'm especially grateful to, you know, Adil, Rama auntie, Paranti, Shita auntie, because they held me together during those times. And what the experience also did is that during the course, during the fellowship, I think the first one of the main sessions that I was like wowed was the one with Devinder Sharma, where he spoke about how you know, the world food politics and how economy and what happens at that level. And that was like a big realization or awareness kind of a moment for me. And I got to hear from a journalist perspective, because Devinder Sharma is a journalist, so got to hear from that. And this kind of reconnected me with the childhood ambition that I had of becoming a journalist. And that, you know, that spark of that ambition started coming up again. So I think that's where it started. And so that's Devinder Sharma ji's session with my batchmate. The second photo here is, yeah, so at Bhumi, the Bhumi Sante that happens, the organic farmers market. So I have contributed to a certain extent for the farmers market. And one of the things that I love doing was the no plastic campaigns. And I remember I was free. It was like so much of energy to just do things. And there is support. And it's not that I did not do any mistakes. I did a lot of mistakes, but there was a community that held me together for that as well and gave me the space to be myself and execute and do things that way. So I got to learn a lot about farmers, about the certification processes, about the market realities, about how that connection between a producer and the consumer happens. And I got to learn a lot about the perspectives of the farmers, the perspectives of the consumers as well. So that was a very good experience that I still cherish, and it's coming to a lot of use in my present work. So yes, this is Bhumi's journey. Yes. However, after the course, there's a lot of churning happens within us, and we ask ourselves, what do we want to do now, right? So there's one where I can work in the grassroots spaces, go to some village, work there. The other is I can work at the policy levels, or or that the government and the policy, that advocacy, that systemic levels. And the other analogy would be another kind would be I can work at something which is very small scale, and the impact is also at small scale and it's good enough. And then there is the other side, I can work at a larger scale, and there's impact also happening at a larger scale, right? Impact happens large or not, but the work, right? The scale aspect. So I used to be confused which direction to choose, and I wasn't able to choose one because I was always like, there is work required to happen at the ground and at the system, both. And we need to work on the ground. At the same time, we need to push the system as well. We need to have small actions on the ground, but all those small actions cumulatively have to push the larger agenda as well. So this was a thought which kept increasing, and the churning was a constant process which was happening during the year that I was working with Bhumi and all. And in 2019, I came across about this Padyatra called the Jai Jagat Padyatra, and it's a global peace march for peace and justice. And Ekta Parishad, one of the Gandhian organizations of India, who's working on land rights, land, forest, and water rights of the marginalized communities. I came across those and came across their plan of walking from Delhi to Geneva for this particular cause. And I was like, I remember when Jilben was telling about this, giving the presentation, I heard, and Rama Aunty was sitting next to me that time, and immediately after the presentation, Rama Aunty looks at me and asks, you're planning to go for that? And I was like, yes, because it was so clear that the whole vision of, living together in harmony. And yeah, for harmony, peace and justice is required, and we're doing that action. And at the same time, the cause of the movement was the whole agenda of the movement was to take them to the systems, which is United Nations, the parliaments and the governments of each country, take them to that and carry out that advocacy, right? And who are the ones taking these stories to them? It's the people from the ground themselves, right? It's not the politicians or the consultants or the PWCs and the KPMGs and all of those people, no. It's the ground, Adivasi people, the youths of the common youths like you and I, or the village marginalized communities. It's these people who are taking these stories and telling, our representation is also required, and we are going and giving our representation. So that seemed perfect to me, because it is like a balance between the grassroots and the system and pushing both, right? Action was very small because it's like a 50 group team walking from here. However, just like how in the Dandi Sabarmati march that Gandhi organized, Gandhi started with 16 people, but by the end it was like thousands. Just like that, even this Jai Jagat march that we did, we had 50 people. We started with 50 people and it became thousands by the end. By the time we reached Wardha and we ended the Indian leg at least. So this people knew that I am crazy, I am weird. It was not a surprise that I'm gonna do something like this. But what the surprise was when I came back, people around me were a little like, who is this? This is not the one who went, whom we know. So it was a big surprise for a lot of people. Also, when I go tell around people, right, that I'm walking from Delhi to Geneva, they'd be like, walking from Delhi to Geneva? I'm like, I'm walking for peace and justice because we're going to United Nations, we do this and that. So I am focused at the purpose, at the agenda. But I got to see that everybody around me was focused on the walk in itself. And the fact was, I was not at all concerned of the walk. It never struck me also. I didn't even care. Chalna hi hai, chal lenge kaise. We will figure it out. But that was the attitude. But the fact was that it brought in a lot of, at a subconscious level, it impacted to a greater extent, right? So these are 3 photos from the yatra that we did in India, which was from Delhi. In India, we walked from Delhi to Wardha in Maharashtra, almost 3,500, 600 kilometers across 4 months at least. This was somewhere in Betul, MP. This is from a village, wait, I can't see the name of it. Yeah, we met with Gond and Kurku tribes. This was in Takneri tribal village. We celebrated Diwali with them at Ashoknagar in MP. So I was asked to share learnings from my yatra, and this kind of gives me 3 big learnings, I think, which are very important and contextual to this group right now, I feel. One is this walk, right? I'm just trying to depict the walk and my whole that. Walking 25 to 30 kilometers a day, every day, through different kinds of terrains, road at different climatic conditions. It could be road, it could be soil. We will be walking on anything, even water we walked on. Morning till evening, the entire walk happens. It's truly a non-violent action, I would say, because which was one of Gandhi's main principles of ahimsa, right? What it does is, one, it gives us exposure to what's happening around. It shows us the problem and it shows us the solution as well. We get to see and we get to apply immediately. Like I got to see the application of all the things that people taught us during the Bhumi course and the next 1-2 years. What I got to read, hear from people, they tell about the village issues, the Vidarbha suicide issues. But through this walk, I could experience with those people itself. Like we were in the Vidarbha region, we lived with the communities who have faced farmer suicide, we interacted with them, and it was direct connection that I could face with. I could experience it along with them, right? What walk does is, what we don't realize is that when we are struggling and suffering so much, there is so much of growth that happens within ourselves. I realized this on hindsight, like after I came back from the walk. But the change that took the Riya that took people, took the world by surprise was that. And the struggle, constant struggle of walking, though at that time it was not a big deal for me, but at subconscious level, it was playing its role. That when we suffer, through it, be it through discipline or be it through, Gandhians have a lot of disciplinary things. So we had to go through all of that as well. So, or through physical pain or through emotional pain or any of that, when we get onto a journey, it teaches us. The struggles and suffering teaches us. And coming from a very privileged background where, you know, my parents, my mother wouldn't even allow me to wash my own vessels. Coming from such a family, I barely struggled. This was the first time that I would have struggled so much. And I realized that one of the disadvantages of having so much comfort and leisure and trying to make humans' life much more easier to live is actually not a very wise idea, because everyone needs to struggle in some way or the other for them to grow, is what my understanding was. And at least for me, it became important that I need to struggle. So now I take it a point that, you know, I go to wash my plates, I fight, and I was like, I am washing my vessels, I am doing this because I need to feel the pain of doing that. I need to take responsibility of those. So some may say this is maturity, but guess that's what life does to you. So life did that to me through the 25-kilometer walks on a daily basis. So yeah, so there was a lot of self-awareness constantly. I was constantly mindful